Hi, this is Margo. This is Sunday evening, January the 30th, 2022. I hope everyone is safe and doing as well as possible. We made it through another week. I apologize for my voice being a little raspy. I got toxified this afternoon, but I'm going to try and make it through this show. This will be my weekly update that I'll be putting on YouTube, and we're going to go over methane and sea ice and earthquakes, and I think that's about it. This is my weekly update that we'll be doing. Starting out with the NOAA methane data for yesterday, the 29th, for the 477/469 millibar reading. This is the MET-OP-B or MET-OP-1 satellite for the morning. The mean or average was 1913 parts per billion. The high reading was 2473. And in the afternoon, the mean was 1916, and the high reading was 2460. You can also see the pinks coming in further south. Here we have them in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, and here in the southern part of South America, also on the southern part of Australia. So the average for the 29th comes out to be 1914.5 parts per billion. That gives us an increase for the week of 3.5 parts per billion. And here's the chart, and here's the rise there. Now, I think we hit bottom on the 14th at 1909 parts per billion, so that's the lowest point here on our chart, and that was just before the weekly update for the 15th, and anyway, it went down that week. That week of the 8th to the 15th, 3 parts per billion. Then for the week of the 22nd, it went down another half a part per billion, and now we're started on the upswing. It looks like we're still 28.5 parts per billion higher than we were a year ago, and we're 45 parts per billion higher than March the 1st of 2019, when I started tracking all of this. Now over here I'll show you what happened this week. So the data for Saturday the 22nd, which is what I presented on last Sunday, was 1911, and that gave us a decrease for that week of 0.5. And then for Sunday it went up half a part per billion. On Monday it went up 1.5. On Tuesday I threw out the data because one of the readings, it was the morning reading, was almost all white, meaning no data. So we're not counting that data for the 25th. On the 26th it went up 1.5. On the 27th, no change. On the 28th, it went down slightly, 0.5. And then on the 29th, it stair-stepped back up, 0.5, giving us an overall decrease for the week of 3.5 and 28.5 parts per billion higher than a year ago. Now, I do updates and shows during the week that I post on my Subscribestar channel. So that's a good way to support my work if you're interested in it. The link is in the description box below. For only $5 a month, you can have access to my findings as soon as I get them. And it's a small community, but I like it over there. And so here we are. I think we're back on the upswing now. Now we'll look at the CAMS data. This is from Copernicus Atmosphere Monitoring Service for Saturday the 29th. Arctic view and surface level. And there's the color ledger at the bottom. The data is for Saturday, and the forecast period runs Sunday through Wednesday. Now earlier this week we saw huge dark areas around Komsomolets, and then it went down a little bit, but it never completely stopped. That's I think a rift has opened up in the seafloor, and it's also coming up here in the North Kara Sea. Look at this wave moving out from Russia across. That's in the forecast period. Also, we've got a wave that moves out across the Laptev Sea, and we have an independent release coming up here in the East Siberian Sea. See, here it comes up independently. And remember, it's still dark up there. This is the sea ice is covering from coast to coast, although we saw some melting going on this week on this eastern side. And it's too early for it to be melting, but we're in abrupt runaway climate collapse now. So all bets are off, and the old models don't work anymore, and old science doesn't work anymore. We're in no man's land, and the time for waiting around for people to do peer-reviewed papers and put them out, it takes a few years for all of that. We don't have a few years. We've got right here, right now. And from what it looks like to me is that we've got blowouts happening in the seafloor, and they're not going to tell us about it. And these very high readings, see here in Russia, and all the way across, and with all this methane coming up, it traps the heat in the atmosphere, and I think we're in for a very brutal summer. We're going to see fires all over the planet like we haven't seen before. That's just one of the things. Okay, this is the North Pole view, and here's the Persian Gulf, and Then here's India filling back up and spilling over in the Bengal Bay. China is filling back up. That white spot near Beijing is popping back up. See that? That's above the chart, above the 10,000 parts per billion. And then in the US, you'll have at certain times it just pops up. See, like there on Monday, just solid blob of the dark methane from Texas over east. Watch this. Here, I'll stop it. See that? That's in the middle of Monday, and just one big solid blob. And California is filled up as well. And I believe we are in the end times. And, you know, it's the best preparation you can make is spiritually, is get your spiritual house in order, forgive people, and say your prayers and ask God to forgive you of all the things that you've done that you shouldn't have done, and just, you know, get ready. That's the best preparation. I don't know what else to tell people. And anyway, so here's the Antarctic. We got a little bit of navy blue coming in here, which is a lower reading of 1800, but it doesn't hang around for long. It goes right back to 1820. We can see the aqua coming up here on this Western Peninsula all the way down all these Larsen ice shelves, especially the Larsen B and C, also on this west side of this Western Peninsula. Here's all around the Brunt ice shelf and around the coastlines, and here on the Amory ice shelf, and here's an area on the east side where it's popping up, and then on the southern end next to the Ross Sea, we've got an area where it's popping up on that coastline. Now we'll go to the global view. You know, if there are people that you need to make amends with, you know, now's the time. If you haven't talked to some of your relatives in a long time and you need to, you know, don't put that off. Don't put that off. And forgiveness is the big thing. Forgive others. And then ask for God to forgive you for the things that you've done. We don't need to be carrying anger and resentment to our graves, to our final breaths. We really want to deal with all of that before it's time to go. Okay, this is the global view. We're seeing a little bit of the dark blue here over the Pacific, but that's you know, if methane's going back up, these dark blues are not going to hang around. And I think it is going back up now. Now we'll look at 500 HPA. Look at this. See all this dark just covering all the Arctic, and see it comes down into the US here and swooping down across Russia and Russia here and down into China, and then we've got some dark coming up even South America and southern Brazil. And then total column. And the highest we have here in China, and then over Japan and just east of Japan, and then over India, and we've got a dark spot here in South America again too. Okay, let's go through these. Here's sulfur dioxide today. This is from CAMS. This is this area here in the southern Indian Ocean. This is what is left of the cloud that came off of the Tonga explosions that came west across Australia, and this is what's left of it. And we can see it's dissipating. Here it is at 500 HPA. It's not as heavy. There's no red there. So that's just gradually dissipating. And here we have the Antarctic. This is ozone for today. And see the break here from the peninsula up by South America, then another break on the other side, and then another break up here in the Ross Sea, then another break out here on this east side too. All of this is then below this solid yellow. The solid yellow is 300 Dobson units, and that's considered normal or average. So all of this is way below. And here's the Arctic view of the ozone. Now we've got a thinning just right down here, just on the northern end of the UK, Scotland, where it's Scotland there. Here's the global view. Here's some aqua over the Philippines and Indonesia. But see these breaks? So anything that goes into the greens and the blues, that's lower than normal. That's all of those. Let's look at Climate Reanalyzer next. Here are the maximum temperatures around the planet today. I see the whites, that's around 100 degrees or higher. That's Fahrenheit. So we've got Australia on the west side and in the interior. Then we've got Africa. We've got South America. Now this is where we were seeing the heavy methane here in southern Brazil. Or is that Paraguay? I'm not sure. Let's see what country that is. Yeah, that was Paraguay. So we've got Brazil and then Paraguay there. Where am I? So that's Paraguay and then Argentina there. Here's 2-meter temperature anomaly for today. And we've got reds and browns still swooping across the Arctic. Lots of blues over Greenland and Alaska. And here's the flat view. And see this brown in the Antarctic over the western side and the western peninsula, brown and reddish. Now worldwide we're up 0.1 C higher than normal. Northern hemisphere is up 0.4 C. The Arctic is up 0.5 C. The Antarctic is up 0.5 C. The southern hemisphere is down 0.1 C. And the tropics are down 0.1 C. Now, at about midweek this last week, the Arctic was up very high, over 4 C higher than normal. Here's precipitation and clouds. The green is rain, the blue is snow. Now here's that storm, awful snowstorm that had hit the northeast coast of the U.S. and now it's moved on up over this eastern side of Canada and up into the Atlantic, and then there's rain just under that. And also of note, we can see rain coming all the way down to this western peninsula in the Antarctic. It does rain down here about 50 days out of the year. So this is one of those 50 days, 50 or 55 days. So any sea ice, you know, that'll just eat that up in a heartbeat when you see rain. Here's the jet screen, like what Larry calls it. Jet pieces, jet clumps. We can see how it's broken. Look at this big break in the southern hemisphere. And this is where we saw a break in the ozone as well. And see, it just loops down there all across the western peninsula and the Weddell Sea. And here the main jet stream is really far south, almost to the equator. The equator is right down here. We'll look at sea ice in a minute. Sea ice and snow cover. Here's sea surface temperature anomaly. This is for yesterday. We're still seeing browns here in the Barents Sea and in brown Svalbard, Greenland. Lots of reds. So warmer than normal. Pinks, reds and pinks off this west coast of the U.S. and Canada. Also see the reds around Japan, and down here just south of Australia, here's Tasmania, and we can see that the water is heating up all around Tasmania, and then south of Africa, and then on the east coast of Argentina there. Worldwide, we're up 0.3 C higher than normal. The northern hemisphere is up 0.5 C. The North Atlantic is up 0.7 C. The North Pacific is up 0.4 C. Southern hemisphere is up 0.2 C. And the equatorial Pacific is down 0.3 C. That's all of those. Now, we'll move on to sea ice. Here's our slideshow. The images that I've saved from Climate Reanalyzer. Now, I missed yesterday. I don't know. I was busy working on my website, and I just missed getting yesterday's. Here you are today, sea ice and snow cover. Now here in the Baffin Bay, see, it's still pretty open. It's trying to come back. This is on that west side of Greenland. Got a little fringe of ice on this east side of Greenland. Now we have a hole that opened up this week just on this west side of Svalbard all the way up to Franz Josef Land. It's in the process of trying to refreeze. Same thing up here around Novaya Zemlya. It pulled back north of Novaya Zemlya in the North Kara Sea there. Also, it was melting in the Kara Sea. It's refreezing. Also, on this west side of Severnaya Zemlya, all the way up to the Russia coastline in the Laptev Sea, it was melting, and it looks like now it's trying to freeze back. So let's go through this, what we saw happen this week. So here we were for last Sunday, the 23rd, and you can see quite a bit of difference from today and last Sunday. See, it was solid ice from Svalbard up to Franz Josef Land, and see the ice around Novaya Zemlya, and even it was around the northern end too. So let's go through these and see what happened. Here's Monday, Tuesday. Now you can start seeing the retreat in a big way here on Tuesday. Now watch. Wednesday, you see that? Thursday, Friday. See how it just opened up big time on Friday. Saturday. Now see the refreeze starting here. I mean Sunday. I missed Saturday. So that was from Friday to today. We've got a little bit of refreeze going on. Now we'll go through these models. We're starting with the U.S. Navy model for the Arctic sea ice thickness. Here's the color ledger on the right, from light purple, which is about 1/2 meter thick, all the way up to the dark red, which is 5 meters thick, which I haven't seen any of that. We've got some orangey red, which is about 4 to 4.5 meters thick. Mainly, we've got purple, Dark purple is 1 meter thick. The dark aqua is about 1.5 meters thick. The bright aqua is about 2 meters thick. And then and up to 2.5 meters thick, and that's the majority of the ice. And then we've got just a little bit here. We'll zoom in. We've got a little bit here at this Canadian archipelago where we've got greens. That's about 3 meters thick, and then yellows, and then bright red, and a little bit around the Greenland coastline, same thing. But that's it as far as thickness. And here, see these whites around the Russia coastlines here and around these islands. Something happened and pulled the ice away from the coastlines, and see it's still pulled away here from Novaya Zemlya, trying to refreeze, but it's pretty open there, the Kara Sea, and also here around Severnaya Zemlya and here in the Laptev Sea. And then here is where it had opened up all the way up between Svalbard and Franz Josef Land this week. So we'll run the movie or the model. It was updated to today, so the data goes back 3 weeks and the forecast period goes out to next Sunday. So we'll zoom in and let's focus in on this, just this quadrant 1 and 2 up here, and watch how the ice is moving. Now the ice drift, see it's pulling away from the coastlines, and it started around January the 12th that this ice started pulling away. And then in the forecast period we're seeing a little bit of refreeze coming in and there. And the same up here in the North Kara Sea. See that? See how it just opens up there? That's incredible. And now we'll watch down here in quadrants 3 and 4. And we're mainly seeing thickening. The shape is changing here. Instead of it having been rounded up, see it's kind of flattening out across the North Pole there. So I think it's from the ice drift pushing it down and then kind of flattening out. And here in the Beaufort Sea it's thickening, going into the dark aqua and a little bit of bright aqua. And then in these tributaries it's thickening up a little tiny bit. We've been seeing this hole up here in the North Baffin Bay next to Greenland. And seeing the forecast period that's filling in. And we're seeing more aquas come in around this Russia coastline in this East Siberian Sea, but it's quite thin here in the Laptev Sea. Here's the Beaufort Sea ice thickness. This was updated to the 28th, which was Friday. And here we've got aquas coming in. Here's that little bit of red. Here's a little bit of the darker moving into a little bit thicker, not much. And then the green sea is about 3 meters thick. Here's the 30-day animation. So the forecast goes out to next Friday. Mainly thickening here in the Beaufort Sea and along this Canadian coastline, just thickening. Now we'll look at the Antarctic. Now remember, they're in the middle of their summer, well, in their fall now. And typically most of the ice melts around the Antarctic during their summertime, and then it refreezes during their winter time. So you can see it's quite shocking to see how it's melted all the way up to the coastline in so many places. And here's the Ross Sea. It's melted right up to the ice shelf and around this coastline on this southwestern side. And this is the Weddell Sea. So this is what's left of what they have is thicker sea ice here. And then this is still thinning out in the Weddell Sea. So here's our 30-day animation. This was updated to today. So the forecast goes out to next Sunday. So it's still in high melt, although the sun is starting to go down there as the earth is tilting. It started to tilt away from the sun down there and tilting towards the sun in the northern hemisphere. So I'm going to stop this. Here we are at the end. See how thin this Weddell Sea is getting? So that thicker ice is kind of crammed up right along here next to the ice shelf. So there's that. This is from National Snow and Ice Data Center as of yesterday. This is sea ice concentration in the Arctic. Again, you can see the hole opened up here between Svalbard and Franz Josef Land. And then north of Novaya Zemlya, see all the dark blue. That's where it was all broken up and melting. Also here from Severnaya Zemlya up to Russia and the Laptev Sea. This is sea ice extent as of yesterday. The blue line is this year, and the dotted line is 2012 to 2013 winter. And see, we flatlined. There's no growth for the last few days, and it's just pretty much straight across here, and it's underneath the 2012-2013. So we've dipped below that extent on their refreeze after it had been the lowest on record. Here's the Antarctic sea ice concentration for today. And see the little fringe of ice down here off the coast, off the southwest coast. And then here's the Weddell Sea. Look how open it is. Here's the ice extent for the Antarctic, and the blue line is this year, this greenish line is last year, the gray line is average. We're still quite a bit below where we were this time last year, and it's still decreasing. Normally it bottoms out around first or mid part of February. So now last year it bottomed out here well, February starts right there on that line, so around the 9th or 10th, I think it was, or maybe mid-February where it bottomed out last year. But we'll have to see how far down it goes this year. That's all of those. Now we'll hop over to NASA Worldview, and this black area, this is the Arctic. The black area is where it's still dark, but it's getting smaller. So as the sun is starting to come up, you'll see this black area getting smaller and smaller. And we'll turn on sea ice concentration for today. Now here's Franz Joseph. Here's Franz Joseph Land up here. Here's Svalbard. Here we can see it's in a state of refreeze with all the different colors, and trying to refreeze up here just north of Novaya Zemlya, and here on this east side, and here around Severnaya Zemlya. So let's go back to the 23rd, which was last week, and you'll see the difference. Now, here it was melting. It was starting to melt. Let's see, when was it? Now, this had, see, it was in kind of a fragile state before all of that. So on the 23rd was when we saw it really starting to open up, which was last Sunday. So let's click through. So here's Monday. Look at that. Did you see that open up there at Franz Joseph Land? And also the big decrease here in the Barents Sea. Let's look at that again. Here's the 23rd. Here's the 24th. Big shift. And see the reds starting to come in here around Severnizemlia. Here we go. Look at that. Here's the 25th, 26th, 27th. Now here's the hole is opened up. And see all these different colors in the kerosene. That's melting. Same thing here in the Lactose Sea. Here's the 28th. So see, it's totally opened up. 29th. Here it is yesterday where it's starting to refreeze. And then today. So it's in a state of refreezing now. Looks like. But that was quite surprising to me to see that this week. Now the nighttime layer was not working for a few days this week. It's working now, but you can't really see that much. At certain times of the year, it just doesn't work well. Here's what it looks like today. I think it's because of the tilt of the Earth. And see the kaleidoscope thing coming in. And although we can make out up here, okay, here's Severnizemlia, right? See all these colors? This is open water here. See the darker? It's trying to refreeze, but this is where the ice had pulled away all the way down. And here's the Russia coastline there. So, a few places we can make out where there's open water, but generally that's about the best we can see right there. Generally this layer is just not it's not what we want, not adequate for us to look at. So there's that. Now we'll go down to the Antarctic. Now it's raining. Remember we saw rain. Here's our rainstorm coming down to this western peninsula. Look at that. So we'll start down here. This is the Ross Ice Shelf on the southern end. Here's the Ross Sea. It's open, no ice. We've got a big cloud there. Here's Ross Island. There's Mount Erebus. You can see the shadow of the volcano there as the sun is more at an angle as it's starting to set. Now look at all the melting that's going on here in this bay. See that's open. See that? And McMurdo Station, research station, is right down here. So it's melting all the way up to there. Let's see, look at yesterday. No. Here we go. Here's a good view on the 28th. See this ice, how it's all breaking up. Down here too. We'll go back to today. Look at, see how it's melted all the way up to the coastline. Here's today. It's pretty cloudy today. Maybe we'll go back. Look at this ice. See, it's still in high melt. Okay, here, let me get my bearings. Here's the Thwaites Glacier. We've got too many clouds to really make out much of anything. Let's go. See, it's been cloudy for most of the week. This is where it broke off here. We saw that last time, but it's been cloudy. I'm assuming that this big tongue is all breaking up. And then here's Pine Island Glacier again under clouds. We've had clouds over this area for most of the week. Here's yesterday. Let's see, we can't really see what's going on here. Here's where Hole had opened up and where it had calved a couple of years ago. Here we were, the 22nd. That's the best picture we've had. We haven't had a good picture since then. That was a good picture for the whole area, see? So that's what it looked like on the 22nd. This is the Thwaites Glacier. Here's that big long tongue. See, here's a big piece. So we just don't know what's going on under those clouds. See, here's what it's been like ever since then. And here we are today. Here's the Western Peninsula. Let's go back. See, again, very cloudy. Here's this Larsen B is up here. This is the Larsen C ice shelf. Here's this Larsen B. See, this is all breaking up. This is an area where we're seeing methane come up on CAMS. So that was the 26th. Did you see all that? Here it is today. So it's raining near there. Now, right down here, this, see that, this is that iceberg A76 that broke off from the Ross, the Weddell ice shelf, and it's moving out, trying to move out. See, it broke off way down here, and it's up here now. Here's a pretty good image. It's under a cloud. but we can see it's still intact. It's trying to move out through that sea ice. See the movement from one day. Incredible. Here it is today. We can't see it. Now here's an excellent view of the Brunt ice shelf. Just look at this open water, and it's melting right up to. There's a little bit of a lip that's breaking off. Here are the cracks going across. And there was a big piece that broke off last year, right before their winter time. And you can see the line here. And it migrated down here somewhere. I don't know where it is. I lost track of it. So it's out here in that ice somewhere. This is an area where we're seeing lots of methane coming up too, all along here. See, there's no ice there. Right up to the coastline. Look at that. Here's the north end. See, it's melted all the way up. No ice out here. Here's the east side. This is the Amory ice shelf. Here it is yesterday. It's a better view. See, no ice all the way up. And there was a big piece that broke off last year that's out. That went out to the east. I don't know where that is. So here's the ice shelf. There's several glaciers that feed into this. There it is. See the blue? Here's this east side. Look at this ice breaking up here. Let's see. We can see. Look at all those clouds. Okay, here it was starting to break up on the 21st. Look at, here's the 28th, 29th. See how it just pulled out on the 29th. Here it is today, breaking up. So that's in high melt there. Down here is the Thwaites Glacier. It has an ice tongue, a little bit. Here it was on the 28th. And see this crack is going all the way across now. You can see it. And then back to today. And so that's all of the sea ice for us to look at. Now we'll take a peek at earthquakes. Oh, I wanted to show we've got 230 right now worldwide in the last 24 hours. There's a 5.1 at Tambo, Peru. But I wanted to show down here in Southern California today was a 4.1 near Palomar Observatory, California. And now this is in the mountains, and it says 5 kilometers west-southwest of Palomar Observatory. Now we've seen earthquakes in this region before, but that 4.1, that's getting up there. And so that came in at 9:46 this morning, 13 kilometers deep, and there are 3 more there. Aftershocks, 0.9, 0.8, and 1.1. And let's see, what else was I going to show? Let's see, there was a 3 here at Mena, Nevada, 3.9. That came in last night at 11:16 p.m., 8 kilometers deep. So we're getting some bigger ones on land here. Here's a 3.0 at Stanley, Idaho. We've got some unusual movement. 4.5 off the north coast of Honduras, right on the red line. There was a 4.3 at Dominican Republic near Las Salinas. Normally we don't see them there. Now Haiti has been active this week. So anyway, let's turn on all magnitudes for the last 7 days. 2,074 this week. We had a new one on the tip of Greenland of 4.6. That came in on the 26th. And see all this movement. Here's one in the middle of the Atlantic, 5.3. And then down here, South Sandwich Islands, there were 7 big ones, including a 6.0 on the 24th. And then we've got 4s and 5s there. And there was a 6.1 just south of Panama that came in on the 28th, right on the red line. And see, here's one on the west side of the Cocos Plate of 4.5, northern East Pacific rise. That was today. And 5.5 southern East Pacific rise today. And then Tonga, this whole South Pacific area is still moving. We've got 41 down here this week. Now we had here in the Tonga area was 22. Didn't mean to do that. And there was a 6.2 near Pangai, Tonga, 4.2 kilometers deep. That was on the 26th. And then see the cluster here, 11 just north of the main island of Tonga. So that whole area is still moving. Then down here in the Kermadec Islands, 16, and there was a 6.5 down here, that came in on the 28th. So what'd we say? 16 here. So a lot of 5s and 4s there. 6.5, that's getting up there. And see all these in Indonesia and Philippines, Japan, see, and what else of note this week? Oh, look, 5.0 in the Congo, near Kabalo, Africa. So, let's see. 7 days, 4.5 magnitude or higher. Just looking through. I think I got the big ones. We got Panama. We got Tonga. Oh, Hawaii had a 4.7 right near Walua. Let's look at that. Forgot about that one. Now that happened off the coast of Maui, just north of Maui. That came in on the 25th. So we're seeing movement spread out there. So 112, 4.5 or higher. Okay, here's Haiti. 5.1 and 5.3 near Vu, Haiti. Those were both on the 24th. I'll show you those. Let's see. Those, okay. So one was on land and one was just off the coast. So that probably did damage. So there's that. So that's my report for tonight. And I like to bring things back to a spiritual perspective. We're reading out of the Bible. I started on the Old Testament recently, since I finished up the New Testament. We're in the book of Genesis. Genesis chapter 12. Now the Lord had said unto Abram, Get thee out of thy country, and from thy kindred, and from thy father's house, unto a land that I will shew thee. And I will make of thee a great nation, and I will bless thee, and make thy name great. And thou shalt be a blessing. And I will bless them that bless thee, and curse him that curseth thee. And in thee shall all families of the earth be blessed. So Abram departed, as the Lord had spoken unto him, and Lot went with him. And Abram was 75 years old when he departed out of Haran. And Abram took Sarai, his wife, and Lot his brother's son, and all their substance that they had gathered, and the souls that they had gotten in Haran. And they went forth to go into the land of Canaan, and into the land of Canaan they came. And Abram passed through the land unto the place of Sichem, unto the plain of Moreh, and the Canaanite was then in the land. And the Lord appeared unto Abram and said, Unto thy seed will I give this land. And there builded he an altar unto the Lord, who appeared unto him. And he removed from thence unto a mountain on the east of Bethel, and pitched his tent, having Bethel on the west, and Hai on the east. And there he builded an altar unto the Lord, and called upon the name of the Lord. And Abram journeyed, going on still toward the south. And there was a famine in the land, and Abram went down into Egypt to sojourn there, for the famine was grievous in the land. And it came to pass, when he was come near to enter into Egypt, that he said unto Sarai, his wife, Behold now, I know that thou art a fair woman to look upon. Therefore it shall come to pass, when the Egyptians shall see thee, that they shall say, This is his wife, and they will kill me. But they will save thee alive. Say, I pray thee, thou art my sister, that it may be well with me for thy sake, and my soul shall live because of thee. And it came to pass that, when Abram was come into Egypt, the Egyptians beheld the woman, that she was very fair. The princes also of Pharaoh saw her, and commended her before Pharaoh, and the woman was taken into Pharaoh's house. And he entreated Abram well for her sake, and he had sheep and oxen, and he-asses, and men-servants, and maidservants, and she-asses, and camels. And the Lord plagued Pharaoh and his house with great plagues, because of Sarai, Abram's wife. And Pharaoh called Abram and said, What is this that thou hast done unto me? Why didst thou not tell me that she was thy wife? Why sayest thou, She is my sister? So I might have taken her to me to wife. Now therefore, behold thy wife, take her and go thy way. And Pharaoh commanded his men concerning him, and they sent him away, and his wife, and all that he had. Genesis chapter 12. So things are speeding up as we're heading headlong into the end times, an abrupt climate collapse, and all the things that are coming along with it. And if you haven't given your life to Jesus Christ, I highly recommend it before it's too late, so that you can save your soul. There will be many deceptions coming across the land, and without the Holy Ghost discernment, we won't be able to see the deception. So I'm praying for all of you, and I hope you have a good week. And until next time, God bless you. Go in peace, and I will talk to you soon. Good night.